Welcome back to the Fronczak Files. I'm Paul Jack Fronczak, here with my co-host Tracey Hastings, and together we're pulling back the curtain on the people who make this podcast possible.
Every week, you hear our voices, but behind the scenes, there's a dedicated team digging through archives, piecing together family histories, analyzing DNA connections, and making sure every episode sounds just right. Today, you get to meet them.
Joining us are Colleen Neuarth, our lead historical researcher and genealogist, the one who digs through dusty archives and family trees to connect the dots history tried to hide. Emily Ripper, our lead genetic genealogist and researcher, who unravels DNA mysteries and translates the science into real-world answers. And Aidan Taylor, our video and audio editor, the magician who makes sure our stories not only sound great, but look great as well.
We'll talk about how they each approach their work on the Fronczak Files, the skills they bring to the table, and because we're curious people, some fun facts about their lives outside of the podcast. Let's meet the team.
Colleen, you're in the hot seat. We're going to start with you.
This is
'Cause I know
weird.
as a historical researcher, I know that this is what you want to do. You want to be on camera and you want to talk to people and tell us all about you. So, what's your process for building a historical timeline in a case like this?
So first, your case is strange, right? We've got to get that off the bat first. Your case is probably more difficult than most cases that people are putting together. But with any case, whether it's your case or somebody else's, you want to compile everything that is known, whether it's just a couple facts or you've got binders full of things. Because once you have established the who, the what, the where, the how, the why these people have done these things, then you can use that as a jumping off point. So for your case, we don't know a lot. There's still a lot of things that we need to fill in, but we know that there's an Atlantic City connection and a New Jersey connection. So if you start there, then you can find other things to jump off of. You can find the local papers, you can find institutions that were around at the time, places of employment. So once you have that, and especially if you have a couple of people, at least their birth and death dates, then you can build out a tree from there and you can kind of find little breadcrumbs as you go. So you kind of have to be creative. You can't give up. You have to keep going. Some cases are going to be more difficult than others. And then once you have a couple of facts, you'll pick up a little trail and then you've got to go to places, whether in person or on the internet, to try to do a little more research, fill it in.
Very good. And by the way, this is the team episode, so everyone in the team is here
Yes,
in this
indeed they
folder because we are the Fronczak Files.
Right?
I like that.
We have
Everyone's
files
got
on
a
here.
file.
Yeah, they do. So,
All right.
Colleen,
Tracy, you have a question?
I do. Colleen, when you're tracking down archival documents or things that have been missing for years or decades, what's the process for that if you're looking for something specific?
So we're lucky now because a lot have been digitized, especially the difference between 20 years ago from now. Tons more things are accessible just from your computer, whether you have a subscription to Ancestry or if you go to your library, a lot of times they'll have a library edition that you can use. So if you don't want to pay for it or if you can't pay for it, you can start there. So I always start with Ancestry. One, it's a really big database. Two, it's really simple to start a search there. They have so many things: birth, death, marriage records, divorce records, directories. So if you want to find a street address for somebody, military records. So I always start at Ancestry. Of course, they're not going to have everything. So then you kind of need to move on. I love newspapers.com. It's my favorite thing to use. I'm on it probably 4, 5, 6, many hours a day. I won't tell you how many hours. It's important to note that not every newspaper in the world, every edition is going to be on there. But again, they're a pretty big database, so you want to start there first. And with your case, Jack, I spent, I don't know, centuries looking for things on newspapers.com. And even though I couldn't really, we found some things on there. We found some new things a couple of years ago. We found some new things, within the last few months. But actually, I found other things in newspapers, not on newspapers.com. Sometimes people have like a local history center and they'll digitize things specifically. So in Newark's case, they had a digitized version of papers that are not available on newspapers.com. So if you can't find it on Ancestry, if you can't find it on newspapers.com, if you can't find it on like a local history center, you can get creative. I mean, you can go to colleges, you can call hospitals, you can call anywhere that somebody was employed. It's there's a lot of options. You just have to keep trying. That's the biggest thing with a search. You have to keep digging because there's always something to be found. It's just where can you find it? And if it's not online, then unfortunately, you're probably going to have to travel. So with our team, we know that there's more in Atlantic City that we want to find out, but none of it's accessible online. It's only available in person. So we have a trip in our future because there's still more things we need to uncover.
There's still more holes to dig, more stones to
Plenty of
not
digging.
leave unturned. And there's nothing that equals the feeling when you find that little nugget of information, right? And it's like, oh my God, that's the thing I was looking for. That's the best feeling in the world.
That's what we live for.
So what's been the most satisfying breakthrough in researching the Fronczak story?
So as I mentioned, I've spent many hours, many hours, days, years of my life in newspapers looking for, I don't know, what happened to somebody on July 2nd of 1965. Um, you would think that when somebody gets
Maybe July
abandoned,
2nd.
well, we're getting there, right? You would think if there's a child that's abandoned, it's going to make the paper. On newspapers.com, the entire database, and I mean the entire database in New Jersey, I not only did it through search terms, but also individually through the papers in case there was a problem with the algorithm. You know, for some reason I wasn't putting in the right terms and I couldn't find you. I went paper by paper to look and try to find where you were when you were abandoned. And we did not find anything until the Newark Evening News, July 18th, 1965, where you were given yet another name, Unknown Male Number 1. That's in addition to Foundling 19 that we had earlier in the year that's new. And in that clipping, they talked
I should
about
use that one.
number 1, new book title. In that clipping, it's mentioned on hospital records as the first foundling to have arrived week before last. So when you hear that face value, it doesn't sound very exciting, right? Like, yeah, there's a picture of you, but what did I get from that clipping? Well, if you pull up a calendar for July 1965 and you look at the dates, they're talking about you got to the hospital because you were sick. So they're saying you arrived at the hospital the week before last. If you look at that calendar, there's no way you could have been abandoned July 2nd because the earliest possible date is Sunday, July 4th. That's the beginning of that week. July 2nd is the week before that. There's no way you could have been found then. And if you were, where were you for 2 days? So when I found that's groundbreaking information, right? Because then it sets you off with thousands of new theories, you know. Why did they tell you? Why did they tell your parents July 2nd? Why did all the newspapers later, you know, when you were reunited with the Fronczaks, why did they latch on to July 2nd? Why were the police using this as a narrative? So this is information we didn't have, and it's just from a few lines, but you are very hard to find in the newspapers, which shouldn't be the case. We should be able to find you, and then this is giving us different information, things we didn't know.
Yeah, there's definitely a cover up or something going on there. Like you said, it wouldn't have been in that previous week's paper,
Mhm.
or the paper that I was in. Yeah, yeah, something's wrong there.
Definitely.
We'll find out. We'll
Absolutely.
get to the
We
bottom of it.
definitely will. But, Colleen, your persistence in continuing to dig, I think if I recall correctly, you were looking for things to corroborate the date that we had for the abandonment and ultimately discovered that you blew that theory out of the water, that is not the date.
It just can't be the date. It doesn't seem there's a lack of coverage to begin with, which was frustrating when you're trying to prove something, and then you find something else, and there's just new theories that come up when you find new information like this.
Well, I
I
also
agree.
know that you are a genealogist as well as a historical researcher. Sometimes I know you consider yourself a dabbler in it,
I
but
do
you're
dabble.
outstandingly good at it.
Well, thank
uh,
you.
have you ever uncovered something completely unexpected when you've been building a family tree for someone?
Oh, that's a loaded question. I would say it's rare. I would say it's rare that you don't find something
Your own tree?
unexpected.
Was there any
My own tree, people I've helped. I mean, um, some of the more common things that you uncover are adoption or people that are NPEs, not parent expected, when there's either one or more parent that turns out not to be the biological parent that they expected. To find out that your donor conceived, so either through sperm or egg donation. And a lot of times people aren't aware of that until they take a test. And then you get the crazy stuff. I mean, I helped somebody search and a distant relative of theirs, so not direct parentage, but within the family, had a very extensive criminal record. So, in criminal record, meaning like murder and other things. So,
And I think that's part of what keeps taking us back to doing this is because it's a mystery, it's a puzzle, and there's always a puzzle to have to put together in everybody's tree at one point or another.
All right. So, Colleen, here's a good one since you love researching and you're a historical researcher. What is your strategy for sorting reliable records from misleading ones?
this is a good question, and I'm glad you asked it because I think the problem with people these days is they see something on TikTok and they take it as complete factual information. Actually, just last week or the week before that, I asked somebody to cover Jill's case. And I gave them all the facts. I gave them links. I told them I was available for questions, and they completely fabricated an entire story. So if somebody just comes across that information, they might think that's true when it wasn't even close to the truth. So do your own research always. Number one rule. You certainly can't trust TikTok, but even if it's something on a news website, it doesn't mean that they can't make mistakes. So do your own research, try to find multiple places that tell you the same thing. And just because, especially in your case, just because something's an official record doesn't make it true, especially in cases with NPEs, not parent expected. So if they find out by taking a DNA test that one of their parents isn't biologically related to them, usually their birth certificates are not accurate. Um, I know my birth certificate isn't accurate. And when somebody 100 years from now goes to do their own genealogical research, they'll pull my record and it's not accurate. Sometimes it may be done on purpose. Sometimes you don't have the information, but DNA will always tell you what's actually true. Records are only as good as the information from the people that give them to those official sources.
Just like the other day, someone wrote in and said that they saw Dora Fronczak, my mom, on Find a Grave,
Right.
that she had passed away. And I know she has, and I just talked to her.
Right.
Yeah.
But people
Yeah.
out there going, oh my gosh, she passed away, right?
I mean, and
Yeah,
how
you
bizarre
gotta
that would be for
corroborate.
your mother to see that if she were to look online and see that. I mean, that'd be a
Thank
shock,
God she doesn't have a computer.
right? Because that would be so shocking to look on Find a Grave and see your profile on there. It's
Yeah,
a
yeah, it's
perfect example of
not, not
how the internet is not accurate,
yeah, it's not a good place to be, right?
for sure.
All right.
So we'll ask a couple of fun questions here, Colleen, to sort of get a feel for who you are on a personal level. Um, if you could time travel to any
Sure.
era, any time along the timeline for purely for research, where would you go?
I would pick World War II not because it would be fun, but because during that time period, it, it would not be fun.
I didn't see that one coming.
It, it would not be fun, right? But during that time period, a lot of books and written materials and archival information, they were actually just destroyed, like in large
In a fire?
numbers. In a fire, true fire. I'm sure that they had many book burnings, but they purposely either moved and then after the war ended, they got lost. They never got back put back again as a collection. The Nazis would just target books written by Jewish people or just written about a topic that they didn't agree with, that didn't promote their agenda. So I would love to go back and rescue those books.
That's amazing.
That's very noble.
Yeah, a
Wow.
steward of history. I love it.
So, Colleen, what's your dream research destination besides Germany or Atlantic City or Chicago?
Atlantic City is top of the list, but I think Trinity College in Dublin would beat it out because have you seen the size of that library? It's just there's so many pages, so many books, and then you can get a Guinness afterwards. So it's
Ooh,
a great
Oh,
I'm
combo.
in.
now
go.
you've got Jack's attention.
I'd go for the Guinness.
I'll meet you
He'll
there.
meet you. Yeah, he'll meet you at the pub after you're done reading.
You can show me your books.
Are you Belle from Beauty and the Beast? Because I mean,
You know,
do
I would
animals
love-
sing and talk to you too? Because that's what it reminds me of.
Well, Lily's middle name is Belle, so
Oh,
How appropriate.
perfect. Perfect.
And one last question for you, and then we will stop trying to dig into your brain. If you could have coffee with any historical figure, who would you choose?
I have thought about this question many times, and it's very hard to pick one. So I wanted to pick somebody that probably people haven't heard of. Vera Atkins, also going with the World War II theme. She was in the SOE. If you know anything about that, it was special operations thing. They did like spy missions during the war. So basically, she was this cool woman spy and was in charge of other spies during that time. And I just feel like the stories she could tell would be super cool. Very cool.
Love it.
Wow, that's fascinating. Wow. I've got one last question for you. This is probably the hardest one.
Oh, no.
What's your favorite color?
My favorite color is purple because that's
Ooh.
the color of royalty.
That's my
Same.
favorite
It
color
is.
too.
Wow.
Me
Same.
too.
Good team.
Oh,
Right?
That's
Go a
fantastic. That's why
team.
we all blend together.
That's it. That's the key right there.
hmm
Yeah. It's fascinating, Colleen. Thanks for sharing a little bit about yourself.
Yeah.
You know, it's a
thanks.
pleasure working with you, and it's a lot of fun, even though you're into stuff like that.
Well, thanks for giving me a
Don't let her
chance to
fool
be
you,
on
everyone.
this side
Co-
of the podcast.
Yeah, don't let her fool you. Colleen's she's a lot of fun.
Thank you.
But yeah, we couldn't do what we do without you. So we appreciate everything you do every day. She is also in charge of our Patreon. And so all of that amazing content that you're seeing when you go there and hopefully sign up and become a member, you're going to see all of Colleen's work. And she compiles some really interesting and amazing stuff. So don't miss out on it. She's got a lot of great stuff coming.
Absolutely. Pleasure having you on the team, Colleen.
Thanks for the plug there, Tracy.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So, Emily, we're moving on to Emily now, the lead genetic genealogist and researcher for the Fronczak Files. Emily's the first person that I've met, I believe, going into this venture together. And she took a chance on joining up. And I know she's probably having second thoughts, but
Never.
it's going
never.
smooth.
We've all had those moments. But
I haven't. I can't go anywhere. It's me. So, can you walk us through how you approach a DNA mystery from the first results to a possible answer?
Yeah. So I think the first thing is when I'm working with somebody who's really trying to take a deep dive into the unknown or what they think might be the known, I think it's really number one is asking all the questions. It's really getting the groundwork. What do you know already? Tell me some stories. Give me the facts as you know them. And then it's taking a look at all of the DNA matches. And luckily, we are blessed with tools today that we can group our DNA matches into who's related to who. And so you can kind of see some common themes. So I've got, like one group that's related together here, one group that's related together here, 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 here. So I've got all these little clusters of people. And then it's trying to put the puzzle pieces together. So for instance, I'll take group A and I'm like, okay, how is group A related to each other? So literally it is trying to find what puzzle pieces fit into what puzzle pieces. If you think as a person as a puzzle piece, which ones fit together if they are siblings or if they're cousins, or it's really, I think of a family tree as like a huge puzzle that you're just trying to piece together. And, I love puzzles. There's one on my dining room table right now that's been there for a while. And as you know, it's kind of like family trees and puzzles. Like you put some pieces together, you leave it for a day or two, you come back because you can't all do it, at one time. So I think mysteries, you feel like you're going the right way. You feel like you're putting all the puzzle pieces in. And then you realize, the puzzle piece that you think goes together, but then you like look at it in the light and you're like, oh, that one really doesn't fit together. There's a lot of that in DNA as well, where somebody might look like it's the child of somebody, or it looks like it's, based on DNA, it's the first cousin of somebody. But just because DNA probabilities say this person should be, a first cousin, there are some other possibilities. And we've run into that lately, with our research Fronczak Files with, some predicted relationships with people. It actually ended up being the less likely chance that somebody was that relationship. And that's actually what it ended up being. So it's not, I guess, it's looking at all possibilities, all puzzle pieces, making sure they fit exactly and not just mostly. It's kind of the way I look at it.
So I have to ask you, what's the puzzle on your table
Oh
right
my
now?
gosh. So it's one that I'm working on with my son. It's Avengers theme. So it's like, it's got Spider-Man and Iron Man and all that kind of stuff. So he's gotten into some puzzles too, but it's like a 1,000-piece puzzle that we're working on. So yeah.
Beautiful.
Right.
Love that.
Yeah.
So, like most people who work in genetic genealogy now, you started out in genealogy, as did I, as did Colleen. What do you find is the most challenging part of working with genetic genealogy in a cold case?
Yeah. So I think the most challenging part is, and I think this is a common theme, especially in your case, Jack, and we see it other places too, just probably maybe not quite as serious. Sometimes we can't figure out all the information just by the DNA. We need to talk to people. We need to make a phone call or send an email, or even, if we can find them on social media, send a message. And it's either the silence and no response, or it is just the misinformation or no thank you. I think it's the people that don't want to talk or just have no interest in providing information. That is extremely frustrating when we're really just trying to put those puzzle pieces together for somebody to find out their truth. And we run into this in your case all the time, Jack. And it resonates across everybody that is working with DNA, really trying to find out just answers.
Okay, so how do you handle false leads when DNA results seem promising but don't pan out?
Yeah. So again, just those puzzle pieces that they look like they fit and they don't. There have been several times where, somebody, I'm like, it's between, these couple brothers. One of these guys has to be a biological father. Maybe we get one of those men to actually take a test to see, and it comes back as like a second cousin, not anywhere near a father match. It's frustrating. It's really frustrating, but it does happen. And it's really just knowing that sometimes you have to pivot. And we know that science is exact, but again, there are so many possibilities sometimes for exact science. So it gets really frustrating, but it's definitely keeping an open mind. And you have to be fluid in genealogy and genetic genealogy and the way you think. You can't really have this narrow tunnel and this silo. You really have to be getting information from here and here and here and here. So you really have to be a little bit scatterbrained to do it all, for sure.
It's a perfect
I agree.
definition
Right?
for a genealogist.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I love that, that analogy that they say, like, oh, men just, hit their head on the pillow and they go right to sleep and they wake up when their alarm goes off. And then there's women that put their head down and it's like they have all these tabs open in their brain. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so me. Like that is what my brain is like all the time. I have several different things. I mean, it might be ADHD as well, but at the same time, it's very useful because it's like, oh, I could go from this tab to this tab to this tab to this tab. So I can, bring up all the information that I need.
You're making it work for you.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Yeah.
So genetic genealogy can be confusing to people, for sure. How do you blend science and what most people consider a hobby? So genetics as the science and genealogy as the hobby. What would you say is what most likely the most important thing people misunderstand about genetic genealogy?
Okay, by far, I do think it is that the government is going to take my DNA and they're going to, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what they think they're going to. So I, want to explain to people that these are privately held companies. Law enforcement cannot access your DNA on places like Ancestry, 23andMe, MyHeritage. Um, you know, these places they can't. They just can't. There are very few instances where they can, and that's not going to be for you most likely. That's why there are places like DNA Justice where you can actually upload your DNA to, or GEDmatch. Those are ones that law enforcement can use. But again, I would like to talk to people about, they're still scared. I don't want my DNA out there. And I said, okay, what if your DNA was out there? What are you scared about? And a lot of them is, well, it's just my right to privacy, right? Like I don't like them invading in my lives. And I'm like, do you realize like I can literally find everything about you as a normal person in less than 60 seconds? Like your privacy is gone, okay? Like it's gone. Not that anyone's going to come knocking on your door, but you do not have any privacy. And I just try to tell them like, if they want to use my DNA to like, I don't know, cure cancer or like, by all means, like, or catch somebody that's maybe like a fourth cousin that has, committed all these, heinous crimes, like absolutely, like use my DNA. So I don't want people to be scared. There's nothing, oh, the DNA is going to be out on the black market for what? Like, what do you, and no one's going to know what to do with this DNA data. And we're far from really just, cloning a whole society based on people's, DNA. So I just want them to really lower that fear that they have, and know that just putting their DNA out there on a site like Ancestry, especially, can really help somebody find their truth, find some answers. There's a lot of people out there that really need you, and it would be wonderful if you could give your DNA.
You make a good point that you don't need anybody's DNA to find out anything about them. You literally don't need to look at that. And within a few minutes, you can have an address, a phone number, where you went to elementary school, what your GPA was in college. It's all available. So this is not the thing that's going to invade your privacy. It's already been done. You're digitized.
It's so true. There's so many people that I've contacted, to ask further questions too. And how'd you find my number? It's unlisted. I'm on the do not call list. And I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, yeah, it's just, and it's not just a Google search. There are other, we're trained in, how to really find the things that no one can find, but it's fairly easy, once you've had years of experience. So, yeah.
And
just tell them the truth, Emily. You're a wizard.
I'm a wizard.
Yay.
I bring out my crystal ball. I put my hat on.
Right.
That's how I figure it all out.
Yeah, it's very simple.
I wish it were
Some
that
tarot
simple.
cards.
Ooh, we'd have
Right.
answers for you, Jack, if it were that simple.
We'd be out of job,
True.
though.
Right? I know. Should we put a call out there to any wizards that can?
Right?
Yeah.
Anyone willing to help?
Send us an email.
I've got a Ouija board. We could try that
Sure,
too.
sure. That's next
That's
episode,
for the next,
right?
Yeah, next staff meeting.
Me and Emma love playing with the Ouija board.
The
We
Parker
It glows in the
Brothers
dark,
Ouija
too, so
board.
it really adds.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it glows in the dark. It's one of those really. It's pretty high end.
Yeah.
It's
Probably
nice.
bought it at
High
Toys R Us when it was open, kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Good time.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to use a Ouija board, it's got to glow in the dark because you need the
Well,
full
absolutely.
experience.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because you have to do it in
Right?
the dark,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm told anyway.
You have to. Yeah.
So, and Emily has been kind enough to compile some PDFs for us on our website under the tab, The Ripper Reports. If you go there, and you can take a look at how to share your DNA on DNA Justice and on GEDmatch. If you would be so kind as to opt in for law enforcement to use your DNA to help solve cold cases and cases like Jack's and like Paul Fronczak's and like Jill Rosenthal's.
And I
Very
promise
good.
they won't, they won't take your DNA, clone you into some sort of robot. At least not right now.
Like Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that
Yep,
movie.
yep.
Oy.
All right. So, Emily, have you ever had a light bulb moment, DNA moment in the Fronczak case?
So it's interesting. So I think really just expanding your family tree has helped put the whole picture, I think, in front of us. So it's really digging into, we're trying to find Jill. And so it is going into your third cousins, your fourth cousins, sometimes your fifth cousins, just trying to make sure that nobody in your extended family kind of fits Jill's profile because maybe she went with some extended family. So far we have found nobody. I think the hardest part is on your paternal grandfather's side. He was born in Poland, Russia at the time, and immigrated when he was probably, I think, about a year old. And he's been missing since about 1941.
You're talking
don't
about
know.
Harry.
I'm talking about Harry Rosenthal.
Harry.
We don't really know what happened to Harry. We have theories that he might be under some concrete. He owed people a lot of money. He left his wife and children. Big newspaper articles. I think it was actually the front page of the Philadelphia newspaper at the time that he left his family. And
What year was that? You remember the year?
41, I think. 41.
I think so.
Yeah. And he owed a lot of people money. So, but he was never, records. We can't place him anywhere again after that. And so I think, trying to expand his side of the family has been a little bit difficult because not knowing a whole lot about it with such limited records. But there have been some light bulb moments in that side that have been great. I've been able to put at least a few extra members of the Rosenthal family on the side of there. But then, I also, Colleen and I have brains that think a lot of alike, and we research like crazy. And I think it was really, kind of early on talking theories, right? And like what happened to Jill. And, first thing we think about is because of the abuse you two, had, that something bad happened to her and that there's no way they could explain. There's one twin left. What do we do? We don't want the police involved. And so they leave you. That's like the first thing I think almost everybody goes to. But I think it was really talking it through. I think, early on, Colleen and Jack, and really thinking about, you were left in Newark in an expensive stroller, something that your biological parents would have never had because the twins really never left the house. Nobody saw them. Some people didn't even know you guys existed, just in the general neighborhood, didn't know there were twins. They only saw your older sister. The expensive suit that you were found in, that's definitely not something that your biological parents would have had for you. And so that led me to believe that there's something going on there, that it necessarily wasn't at the hands probably of your biological parents, that maybe you were discarded, that it might have been a family member or a connection to the family members, whether that has to do with somebody that, I hate to say it, is mob related at the time, or, something in the crime aspect knew how to and where to, abandon children to make sure they were found. I don't think anybody wanted you to just be abandoned and, die, obviously, because of where you were left. I think it was on purpose. But I think it was really trying to think through the theories that, like, I really truly believe that Jill is alive. And I really truly, it was a light bulb that such horrendous abuse that you guys endured, but I feel she's alive. I feel that you were abandoned so you could be found. And there's definitely a connection. I think it's one of the grandmothers that had something to do with it, or definitely somebody on the mob side. And that's really, I think, as a team, kind of what we lean towards and makes the most sense. I refuse to believe that the abuse took both of you out. I think that you guys are resilient. I think you're strong. If there was just one of you, I'm not so sure that maybe you would have survived. But I think that there were two of you. I think that means something. And I think she's still out there.
I do too. I like that. It's a feel-good moment.
We'll keep going
It
till
is a
we find her.
feel-good moment. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Coming off of that heavy duty moment, thank you, Emily. That was amazing. And it was great. It really gives our listeners an idea of how this affects us personally as we're working on this podcast. This is not just a podcast to us. We're all invested in this emotionally, as well as physically and mentally and intellectually, and on all levels. We're all invested in this and in helping solve the remaining pieces of this puzzle. So thank you for being an integral part of that. So let's do
Emily.
Let's do something fun with you. If you could instantly master any other scientific field outside of genetic genealogy, what would you choose?
Can I choose math? I know that's not science, but I'm not good at math. I I hate math. I'm just not a numbers well, I can do like DNA, right? Like that makes
Right.
sense to me, but forget it. Like, I mean, I full on admit that like I got through advanced math because I cheated in high school because it was like I don't get it. I don't get it. Thank goodness every single member of my family, my kids included, know way more math than I do. Thank goodness. Math. I would like to be better at math,
Love
but
it.
I don't really want to. But yeah.
Okay, so what is your favorite mind-blowing DNA fact?
Ooh, mind-blowing DNA fact. So I would say it's not so mind-blowing anymore. However, at the time, I think it was for me to really realize in my own family tree just how common it is to have most of the time, a biological father, not the biological father. Though the man that raised you as your father ends up not being DNA related to you. And at the time, mind blown. What do you mean? Like, this is just something that happens every once in a while. The latest statistics, I think they're averaging that it's about, every 2 in 10 people right now are finding out that the man who raised them, that they thought was their father, that maybe still everybody really believed was their father, is not their biological father. And I couldn't wrap my head around that. I really couldn't. And 7 years in here, doing genetic genealogy, I mean, yeah, it's every generation. You go, I love the old grandmas, that kids today are just so promiscuous and they're just having all these babies. I'm just like, oh, grandma, I mean, you're going to the grave with your skeleton, and they're you guys were no better than anybody. I think we're actually better today. Yeah, it's so we're finding it out. Nobody, knew that we would ever find that out. And I also, as 7 years in, I noticed that, it's okay. It's okay, because there's a lot of shame and a lot of guilt that's placed on the biological mother, the biological father, the child, the children, the siblings, everybody. And everyone has a story, and sometimes it's not the one that they know, and that's okay. There's always time, and to find out your story and to rewrite your story. And I think everybody here, we talk about it all the time, that knowledge is incredibly powerful and meaningful. And yeah, and I think that it's okay, but definitely was mind blown for sure that it's so common.
Agree. uh, and so when you're not analyzing DNA or looking at genealogy or looking at family trees, digging through records, how do you like to relax, Emily? Or do you relax?
That's a good question. Because I have lovely insomnia. I literally think at things at 3 a.m. And thank goodness we have a chat started with us, because I'll just pop in the chat at 3 a.m. and, hey guys, I was thinking
Right.
about this. Or I mean,
I've seen that.
Yes,
yeah,
we've
Every
all
other
seen-
night,
all the time,
almost.
all the
Yeah.
time. This is literally what we like eat, breathe, live, sleep for the last couple of years. My family's gonna laugh at me. I like to play Pokemon Go.
Outstanding.
Right? It's a little, it's like my kids got me into it during COVID when no one was leaving the house. And it was like,
Right.
cool, I could at least like drive around the block and catch some Pokemon. And then everyone
That's
stopped
fun.
playing it. And so I play it by myself.
There's no better way to relax than solo,
Right?
right?
Right. It is true, right? When you feel overwhelmed. Yeah. And I mean, electronics can definitely be a downfall, so much screen time, but it just, yeah. Pokemon.
I love it. That's great. Not the answer I was expecting,
Right?
but I love it.
And I don't watch all the Pokemon movies. I don't collect the
Me
cards.
too.
I don't do anything like that. I just like Pokemon Go.
Love it.
That's all.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm always amazed in the morning when I get up and I see your whatever you
My late
been
night
doing it.
rants.
I'm like 3 in the morning. Oh my
Well,
God.
Jack, and it's worse because I'm 3 hours ahead of you. So imagine what time I'm talking. till.
Oh my
It's so
gosh.
hard.
Exactly.
Well, I
Yeah,
love
the listeners.
the dedication's
I know the
amazing.
listeners need to understand that we literally, yeah, it's always in our head. It doesn't matter what we're doing. Like if I'm at like a theater performance for my daughter, yes, I'm watching her, whatever. But it is always, in the back of my mind. Like it is. I leave and I'm like, I got to think of this. I got to check my messages. I mean, it's what we do. Yeah, and thank goodness our families understand and are very much on board and support us too.
Thank
Yeah,
God.
thank God.
Yeah.
And we definitely couldn't do this without you, Emily.
Oh, thank
So
you.
thank you
Thanks.
for all of the time and dedication and and support. You're always an amazing emotional and support to us when we're having trouble, because this type of project is going to have trouble here and there.
Yep.
And just here and there.
Yep.
But
Yep.
we adapt and we overcome, and you're a big part of that. And we appreciate
I
it.
think we do a really good
We
job
always have the best.
lifting each other up, right? And I think you're really good at that too, Jack. Like it's, we're really good at lifting each other up. We're dedicated. We're incredibly invested. And I know I can speak for all of us, Jack, that we're incredibly honored that you trust us. And we're just moving forward. We're getting there.
Thanks. It means a lot to me. I love this team. I really do. I don't think any other team could have done this, honestly.
Well, like you say, Jack,
As we've seen.
there's no such thing as a coincidence, right?
Mhm.
And
There are no accidents.
right. And how we've all come together from totally different places in life, places in the country, the things that brought us to where we are right now, the unusual paths we've all taken to end up meeting you and being a part of this project. Yeah, none of that has happened by chance.
Like the person who sold me my house. I don't think listeners know that. The person who
That's right.
sold me my house worked with Jack's case at the very, very, very beginning. And when we took her on as a realtor, I had no idea. And we just started talking and it came up and it was a big surprise.
Crazy. Yeah.
If you could time travel, where would you go and why?
I would love to go back. Oh gosh, that's why I wish I would have met Lenny. The 1950s. And I know my husband, whenever I say this to him, he's like, Emily, that was really not a good time for women. I'm like, yes, I know this, but I want to go back for like a week. And I want to listen to
Just
just
a
a
week.
week. I want to listen to the music. I want to wear the poodle skirt. I wanted everyone dance, right? We don't do that anymore. Everyone just got up and danced.
Bill
Oh.
Haley and the Comets?
Yeah.
I would
Elvis?
love
So
it.
many
Like I
great
remember
bands.
asking my dad, I'm like, what did you guys do in high school? Like on the weekend, whatever. He's like, oh, we get our cars, we make a circle, turn the lights on, turn the radio on, and we would dance. I'm like, what? Like that's crazy. I can never think about kids doing that. I would love to do that. And yeah, it'd be fun. Fun. Yeah.
I think so too.
What about you, Tracy? Where would you go?
Oh, I would absolutely go to Victorian England.
Ooh.
Ooh, the
Absolutely.
clothes.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure I was at least British aristocracy in a former
Mm.
life.
Okay.
I have a fascination with royalty. I've been a huge fan of Princess Diana since I was 10 years old, and got up at 5 o'clock in the morning to watch her wedding in 1981. So now if you do the math, you can figure out how old I am.
I'm not good at math.
No, we don't do math here.
No math.
So that's where I would go. And I feel like I've probably been there before.
It's great. What about you, Jack?
I only have two places I want to go. Number one, I want to go back to July 2nd, 1965 to find out what happened, who abandoned me, what happened to Jill. I want to do that so bad. I want to be there to see what happened. And secondly, I want to go back to April 27th, 1964, Michael Reese Hospital. I want to follow the kidnapper, find out where she goes, find out what she's doing with Paul, and then have her arrested and return Paul back to Dora and Chester.
We had a wide
Let's
range
build a time machine.
of answers there, didn't we?
Yeah, lots of
World War
answers.
II.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dancing in poodle
Yeah.
skirts.
I mean, one of my favorite movies is Back to the Future. It is just hands down. So absolutely.
It's a
Yeah.
good one.
Great movie.
Yep.
Great series of
You like DeLoreans?
I love it. I want the flux capacitor. I love it. Love it. Love it. Yep.
Okay. Good question. I like
Yeah.
that.
Okay, shall we bring in our editor-in-chief? So our last interrogation for this episode is going to be with Aiden Taylor, who is our newest member. He's been with us just for a couple of weeks. He came in mid-season to step in as our video and audio editor, and I'm sure our listeners have seen a difference in what they're watching and also what they're hearing, because he has definitely put a great spin on all of it, and we love everything that he's been doing. So welcome to the team, Aiden.
Thank you. It's been a lot of fun, and I look forward to what we'll do in the future.
So what would you say is the most challenging part of editing episodes like what we're doing that deal with sensitive material?
When it comes to editing any episode that has any kind of story or continuity to it, taking out small pieces while still maintaining a pace and an atmosphere. There's certain things that need to be taken out of episodes, things that people didn't mean to say, or that, they wanted to talk about, but maybe not, they're catching up a little bit. They didn't intend for it to go in. So when you're taking those things out, you need to make sure that wherever you're about to drop in, you're not just leaving, you don't want to just they're having a serious conversation and then all of a sudden they're laughing.
Good point. I like that. All right. So how do you make audio feel immersive while keeping the story front and center?
Well, there's the music aspect is definitely about less is more. When you're putting music in, you can't have it so loud that it's disrupting the audio. And I hear it a lot, unfortunately, with a lot of anything that has a voiceover with music overlay. They tend to just tweak the music a little bit too loud. And I think some people are afraid of having music of different volumes, but there are different circumstances that, in your intro, you want your music to be front and center, nice and loud. But when you're doing a transition, you don't necessarily need to have that same volume, because all you're doing is switching over. You don't need to have that. It doesn't need to override so much. And because you blend it in and out, you always fade it in and fade it out. But even if your bass volume is too high, your fade in and your fade out is going to be awkward. And so making sure that when I am putting the audio together, especially with any kind of music overlay, that the audio does take, the show is all about the people we bring on. It's not about, the free music tracks that I find.
Unless it is the podcast theme that me and my friend Rick wrote.
Yes.
Then it's okay to play it as loud as possible and for as long as possible.
Yes,
Shameless plug, right?
And by the way, that theme song, if anybody was wondering, it's called Declassified.
Love it.
How appropriate.
It does great at setting a mood and a tone.
Thanks.
So when you're approaching an episode with raw material that you've done a couple of times now for us, how do you approach the difference between editing video and audio for the podcast? Are they different? Are they the same?
Well, there is different approaches to editing video and audio separately. When it comes to editing audio, you typically don't want to cut things up as much if you can. The more you cut up audio, the harder it is to move it around. Whereas video clips are a little more malleable. Video clips, you can cut them up a little bit more, move them around. As long as you're matching them to your audio, then you will figure out a way to blend it all together. I find that it's usually easier to match a cut up video to a full audio track, and if you cut both up too much, now you just have a lot of random stuff. You have no clue where any of your timestamps are, and something's going to look weird, something's going to sound weird. So when you're editing the audio, there is a section of editing where you're editing the audio and the video separately. But once you start producing the final product, it is very much, you have to be thinking the exact same thing for both. When you're doing a video transition, you need to be thinking about your audio transition, because what you're seeing on the screen is going to match what you're hearing as well, and that's what keeps things smooth and fluid.
So out of all the Fronczak Files episodes that you've edited so far, which one's been your favorite?
I haven't obviously edited this episode yet, but I feel like since it is a Meet the Team episode, I do have my spot here, my interview here, but I'll also probably get to be a little bit more loose with the rules when editing this one. And I'm sure that since it's going to take on a less serious tone, there's going to be a lot more room to have a little bit more fun.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, we'll see what happens when we watch the rough cut. Yeah. All right, we'll get to know you a little more personally here.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, for those of you that don't know, on a very personal level, Aiden is my youngest son. And so who would have thought that the editor for this podcast was living down the hall from me? So that was an amazing surprise for us when we were in a fix and needed to bring in someone to do our editing for us. And Aiden was asking me what he could do to help. I was trying to brainstorm to figure out how we were going to move forward. And I think all of us were at one point considering learning how to edit audio and video. So on top of everything else we were doing to see if we could figure this out. And so when Aiden asked me, Mom, what can I do to help you? I flippantly said to him, how fast can you learn to edit video and audio? I guess the number was about 15 hours is what we determined it took you to learn how to do that. So I was in no doubt that you would be able to do it. You can do anything you put your mind to. You're the smartest person I know. So thank you for taking a chance on us and for, being.
So when I mentioned to Tracey about, let's keep everything in the family, I didn't think she'd take it literally.
I mean, what you told me to do. So I'm good at taking direction, I guess.
And the family, okay.
Okay, let me look.
Aiden?
How about Aiden? All right, there we go. Done. Anything else you need?
And the caliber of the show has definitely gone straight up. I mean, we're so happy with everything you're doing.
Yeah, and I mean, in reality, if anybody took a chance on anyone, it's you guys who took a chance on me, because before this, I had never done anything like this. I mean...
Well, we can just edit that
yeah.
out.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't want
people
cut that out.
We don't need to push that.
Cut it out. Cut it out.
Yeah, tell the editor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hits the cutting room floor.
Yeah.
Very experienced with years under your belt, right?
Right?
Yeah, so that's not
This
what
is
I'll put
this is
on.
just you. Yeah, this is you dabbling, right? You're doing this amazing job just dabbling.
This won't go into the portfolio. This episode.
It'll go into the bloopers behind the scenes. We'll put that on Patreon, Colleen.
With the water bottle.
Yeah.
There's a water bottle compilation.
No
And
water
not the
bottles.
feet.
Yeah.
No feet.
No feet.
None.
We'll see. We'll see how the cut
All
ends
right. We'll see what
We're not going to rule anything out at this point.
Depends what the sponsors want.
Yeah.
Facts. Oh, there's a moment of Colleen right there. Water bottle.
There you go.
So, Aiden, if you could produce any show or documentary, what would it be about?
I would definitely produce or edit any Animal Planet documentary. I've always really been I was always the kid who was into animal facts and knows way too many random animal facts, and someday I will go to a trivia night and destroy everybody, but I've spared them for now. But yeah, I probably something, any kind of, or any of those old the Animal Planet channel back in the day, any kind of those documentaries would be awesome.
So I'm going to change it up a little bit. What is your favorite piece of gear or editing software trick that you swear by?
So I've
In your many years of
my
doing
Yes.
extensive experience in this field. Yes.
Yes.
This one might come a little bit out of left field, but I've got something special prepared. These are my blue blockers. So these, I can flip these on. So essentially they're glasses that reduce the amount of blue light that comes in from your screen.
Yep, I got it.
And yeah, and I'm sure
I got a pair.
Yep.
my fellow insomniacs will know.
Oh, yes.
You gotta give these.
And
a
you look
shot.
kind of like Jack Nicholson.
Oh, yeah.
It's
A
not
little bit.
bad.
I see it.
Yeah.
Not a downside.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Bonus.
these are great for, especially if you're, working late into the night, you're staring at the screen. It can be really difficult to transition immediately from staring at the screen for hours and then laying down and trying to fall asleep. Your brain.
We never do that here.
I know.
We never do that.
No, never.
You
Well,
guys don't sleep.
Yeah.
I think
We
Jack
don't
and I
sleep. You're right.
I think Jack and I tend to get a little bit of sleep, but the rest of you, I don't know.
But yeah, these are great, and I started wearing them mostly to try to help me sleep at night. But sometimes if I work in a building with fluorescent lights and I stare at a screen all day there, when I come home, it's sometimes nice to just give my eyes a break while the episode still's got to come out, but I can give my eyes a little rest.
Are you doing a sponsor bid for those glasses?
Absolutely.
Right? I was just going to say.
Absolutely, yes.
Maybe, who are they by? Maybe they'd like to sponsor us.
Let's see.
Yes. Please contact us.
Let us know. Yeah.
Right? We'd be happy to talk.
The next episode, we all have it on.
Yeah, we're all, yeah.
We don't even need them. We're just wearing them because why not?
I'm just very convincing.
Thanks for the plug, Aiden. So, one more fun fact about you. How about if there's one sound effect or audio moment that you've always wanted to sneak into an episode, or you're considering sneaking into an episode, is there one of those things that you're thinking about maybe doing?
Yeah, several.
Oh.
And,
Uh-oh.
and I think that this would be a perfect moment in the episode. I'll edit in some of those sounds right now.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I love it.
Oh.
He's like, yeah, hold on. Let me get a missing person's case number for you. So he gives me his card, puts the case number on the back, and he's like,
Psych! That's the wrong number!
Give the
Oh,
people, but I did send, I think one great example I did send it in the group chat was when we're censoring anything, that we use the Tom and Jerry scream. I think that's a good
I like
one.
it.
Yeah.
Good one. You should.
do we ever censor on this show? Do we have to censor this show?
There might be some bleeps and blips there that we might need to.
It's
Yeah,
not a
maybe.
spoiler because this episode will come out after all that.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah, all of that'll already be done.
I
so.
do think you need to, add some like very dramatic music, like some cinematic, like da 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 da. And yeah, that'd be really great.
In a world.
Yes,
And-
absolutely.
Yeah.
And actually, Tracey and I have talked about this. I won't call her mom on here because that might be weird, but it might be a little weird. I don't know if people will be like, my mom, but we
Actually, the whole mommy fan base
Yeah.
called him,
Oh.
one of my old music teachers was a DJ, and that had sort of reconnected us with him. And I think that he would be a great candidate to make some music for the podcast because there's a lot of free music out there, but if you want to use it in any licensed capacity where you're making money, they always have their ways of making it a little more difficult than anyone ever wants it to be. So I probably not for this season, but next season we should hopefully be able to reach out and try to put something together.
Well, why don't you give him a shout out?
Yes, his name is Jeremy Vega. I have
Hey, Mr. Vega.
yes, I have no clue what any of his social media is. I'm sure it'll be right here, right now. We have an incredible editor who I'm sure will take care of that.
I'm sure.
a little payola.
And Jack and I also talked about him and Rick getting together and composing some other pieces that we could put into the podcast as well. So
I like that. My goal is to have a whole Fronczak Files album.
we need a
Oh,
One
soundtrack.
song
Yeah.
declassified. We need about 6 or 7 more.
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd
I
be
I think
sweet.
it'll be great.
That'd be great.
Yep. Absolutely.
This could also be a great debut for my band that is yet to be formed, but has a wonderful name. So it could be a great. All I've got's a name right now, but
So most people start with
Yeah.
a band, and then they try to find a name,
yeah, well,
right? That's usually the route you go.
I was
Yeah, wait until you hear the name of his band.
I was inspired one day. The name of the band is Funeral for My Dry Spell. I was inspired.
An Elton
one day.
John feel to it.
You're taking applications now for band names.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great way to get the word out.
Yeah.
If anybody's,
The look on Jack's face was classic when he said, hell?
The band name's non-negotiable, right? Non-negotiable.
Right?
Non-negotiable.
Yeah.
Nope.
Whether he has a band or not.
Right, exactly.
Well, that's
If
why.
you don't like the name, you can't be in the band.
Yeah, if you get the band members first, then you might have to negotiate the name. The name's non-negotiable, so we'll work from there.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's probably the smart thing.
Yeah.
to do.
Ah,
If you could time travel, Where would you go and why?
So if I could time travel, and I do realize that I'd probably be taking a one-way trip with this one.
Oh.
But if I could time travel, I would probably time travel to the beginning of the universe.
Oh boy.
And there would obviously not be a lot there to, keep me alive, but
Like the Big Bang? When the Big Bang
well,
happened?
yeah, or whatever it is. I want to find out, even if it is just for a few fleeting moments, I'll know what really happened. I'll be the one person who knows.
But you can't tell anybody.
Yeah, that's not what it's about. It's about knowing.
He's digging for answers
Yeah,
too, Jack,
yeah.
just in a different way.
Just a lot bigger
Yeah.
answers. The beginning of everything.
Yeah, well,
Just-
that's
he does-
the biggest question of all.
Yeah.
It's true.
That is,
Yeah.
yeah. That's true.
Well, if you make it back
said-
from there, you could make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Telling us, yeah.
I mean, Jack,
Nobody will
I
believe it.
know.
you
not
said
Probably
leave no
not.
stone unturned. He's just
yeah.
doing a bigger stone.
Yes.
Okay.
The Stone. Wow.
Keystone, yeah. Wow. Okay, that's great. All right. So before we finish this lovely meeting, I just wanted to, if we could do briefly, each person give the reason why you're here with the Fronczak Files. We'll start with Aiden.
I am here somewhat by chance. Some might say by fate, but yeah, I had somebody in my family who needed help, and I helped.
Very noble. Colleen?
Well, these days, these are my people. So I couldn't imagine being anywhere else, messaging anyone else at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning. And there's nobody like these people. There's nobody like anyone who has a story like yours, Jack. And it's not done. I mean, we have more to do. So that's why I'm here.
I love that.
I'm
Emily?
getting teary. I didn't think I was going to get teary. Absolutely. You guys are my people. It's really like family. And I think we connect on such a deeper level. And like Aiden said, it's about helping, right? Like that is my number one goal. Like for my whole life, like how can I help? And if I have a skill or something that can contribute, there's nothing better to do than to help people. And that's why I'm here. And I like you guys a lot, but that's why I'm here.
We like you too. Tracy?
Well, I'm here because you asked me to be. Right? It's been an interesting path getting here. I've reflected on it several times about if I had taken a different road anywhere along the way, I wouldn't be here right now, a part of this amazing team, helping other people, helping research your story and try to find solves for you. Meeting the amazing people that we've met along the way, we really sort of started dabbling in making appearances and putting ourselves out there. And some of the incredible people that we've met along the way, I wouldn't have had the exposure to them. I wouldn't have experienced some of the amazing moments I've had in the last 8 months that I've been a part of this team. And I want to thank the three of you for inviting me in and accepting me completely and totally. And like I'd always been here. I feel like I've always been a part of it. So thank you.
Yeah, we feel the same way about you. So when I found myself in this strange situation of having no identity and my parents having this tragedy happen to them, all I wanted to do was help them. I wanted to help them get their family back together and thank them for what they've given me, a great life. Then I found out who I was, and I found out I have a twin sister missing. So I wanted to find her. I wanted to help myself by finding my twin sister. And then along the journey, people started saying, you're inspiring me to start my own journey. I don't know who I am. Thank you for that. You should write a book. So I wrote a book. Then I wrote a second book. And then we did the movie. So I have 2 books in the movie. But the whole thing is, I just love helping people. And so this season, for all the listeners out there, it's been about helping, all getting together, trying to solve this story that we're working on. But next season, it's going to be about helping other people. And we want to get the word out. Anybody who has an identity issue, wants to find a loved one, wants to do it, and maybe be on the show, because we'd love to help you along that journey. I'm good at knocking on doors, digging graves, whatever we need to do. This whole team loves doing all of that. I have the best researchers, the best genetic genealogist, an RN, and her son. I mean, this is the best team ever. There's nothing that we can't do because we're cohesive. We like each other, and we're not going to stop until the job is done. Cool.
We are small but mighty.
All but mighty.
I love this team. Thank you, everyone, for being a part of this. This is going to be a great show, I think.
That wraps up our special Meet the Team episode of the Fronczak Files. A huge thank you to Colleen Newark, Emily Ripper, and Aidan Taylor for stepping out from behind the scenes today. You've heard their voices, but more importantly, you've gotten a glimpse into the passion, expertise, and heart they pour into every single episode. Without them, this show simply wouldn't happen.
And while this episode was all about people who make the Fronczak Files tick, we've got something big to share. Season 2 is coming. Mark your calendars for October 28th. It's a special date for us, the date between Tracey and my birthdays and Emily's wedding anniversary. We figured what better way to celebrate than by dropping an entire new season of stories, investigations, and revelations. The podcast may be on break, but our members won't miss a beat. Join us on Patreon, where exclusive content is dropping regularly so you can keep following my story and the stories of our Season 2 guests.
Until then, keep sending in your thoughts, questions, and theories through our website at thefronczakfiles.com or email us at info@thefronczakfiles.com. We'll be back on October 28th to kick off another season of digging deep, chasing truth, and bringing you along for every step of the journey.
I'm Jack.
And I'm Tracey.
And this is the Fronczak Files.
See you in Season 2.